Good everyone, welcome to this video. Today we have a review of the Sd Kfz 251/9. This vehicle was recently added as part of Patch Fire and Ice and is another one of the many 251 half-track variants that we're probably going to be seeing influxing into the game over the coming months and everything like that. Probably even years knowing Gaijin, because it takes them a long time to add anything cool these days. This vehicle is one that I didn't really get off to a good start with, as you're going to see in the Spade table later. This vehicle was just not as excitable as I was thinking it was going to be. Now, for context, Joe loves half-tracks. I absolutely love these little things. They just have more character than your regular truck, but also they just have a bit more uniqueness in a way. And to be honest, half-tracks are quite uncommon when it comes to War Thunder anyway. Like, we don't have too many, that is. We've started to get more in, which is good, but generally speaking, we definitely need some more of these things. And I don't just mean for Germany, I mean for nations in general. More half-tracks would be much more beneficial. But anyway, we're not here to discuss that. So this vehicle is armed with the K51L24. For context, that is the same gun as on the Panzer IV-C, and it is also the same gun as the Sd Kfz 234-3 and many of the other 75mm heat slingers that the Germans get. Now, obviously, they are named differently. They don't really change anything. It's just the shell. There's one extra shell that this thing gets. Same with the Puma and the Panzer IV F1, and I think the E gets it as well. But anyway, let's go over the vehicle's armor first. And straight away, I need to point something out. So, you might not be able to see it too clearly, but there's actually a gap underneath the gun here. So, if someone's firing their coax at you, they could actually fit a machine gun round down here and potentially take out crew members that are sat behind. However, that's the least of your problems in this vehicle, because if I go to the X-ray, for some reason, Hans has got the bright idea to stick his skull out over the top of the armor plate. So yes, you can be shot by a coax straight to the top of the head, and it will obviously take out the gunner. Now, that doesn't help this vehicle's survivability, and as you can tell by the armor, I mean, at least it's better than the AS-42, but the AS-42 has a mobility, so it can actually get into a position to stay alive and potentially flank better. This vehicle can't, but we'll cover the mobility shortly. The armor is 14.5mm thick, with parts being 8. These are sloped back though, so you'll have a little bit of protection. But the upper part here is 14.5. This upper part here is 14.5. Most of the gun matter is 14.5. There's also 8 around the side of the vehicle, with some parts being overlapping. And the rear is also 8, with the lower part being 5.5mm. And of course, same as the AS-42, this vehicle is open tops, but of course this has a little bit of side protection. So it can survive planes better than the AS-42, but that is not claiming much. The thing is, though, is that this vehicle's gun felt really inconsistent, which is unusual, because normally I absolutely clap with the short 75 on the German tanks. And for some reason, this vehicle was non-penning BT5s at like 300 meters in some case, and even after careful inspection of the BT5's armor, it was green every single time. So I don't know if they've had a fiddle with the code of this thing, but it certainly feels like the gun is not as capable as I previously thought. But in the gameplay, it did redeem itself at least, so that's at least something, because I did pretty much use the AP round throughout the gameplay, as you're going to see. I did use the heat once against an LVT, just for an easier kill. So speaking of the gun, let's go over the shells. So this is a gun that I've actually been excited to talk about, because it's not really one that I get to talk about, because hardly anything gets added with it. So we have the AP round, which is the I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. You're putting German names in front of a Brit. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, so this shell has an 80-gram bursting charge, which is TNT equivalent to 102. If this pens a tank, it's having a bad day in the office. That's putting that lightly. There is also the HLGR38B round. This is a heat round, and if you're really carrying HE after you've got this, just reevaluate, because trust me, the heat will do this thing's job but a little better. And then, of course, we come to the C round. This is the round that I was mentioning that the Panzer IV E, F1, etc. all get. This shell is excellent with an 875.5 gram TNT equivalent. It does overpressure most vehicles pretty nicely, and it has great penetration. Anything that gets hit by this heat round will have a very bad day in the office. As I said though, if you're stock, carry a couple HE, you'll probably need it, but as soon as you get the heat, bin these and never use them again. As for the smoke, I didn't have the smoke in this battle, but I'd probably say carry like 1 or 2 rounds just for emergencies. But generally speaking, you're going to be maining the AP round and the CHLGR38C. This is just generally the ammunition that you should be using, and obviously do not use the heat or the HE after you get the heat. Now we need to cover this vehicle's mobility, which it's okay. I mean, it's 8 tons, 100 horsepower. I mean, it's better than some of the Italian tanks at least. But it's not exactly going to be a speed demon, and stock, it's definitely not going to be a speed demon. So don't expect to get to positions fast, and that really lets this thing down in terms of its versatility. But generally speaking, it can do some work as long as you get it to a good position. And your pen, or your AP round actually pens, but that's a whole different story. The gun depression as well is 10 degrees down and 16 degrees up, and the reload rate is perfectly acceptable with a 3.5 second reload. At least on my current crew. That'll obviously depend on your crew status and the weapon reloading as well as the commander skills. I'll probably do a video at some point on crew skills in the future anyway, in case you need that clarification. But anyway, let's go take a look at my table and see how the Spade went. I'll see you all in just a moment. And welcome to the table. Unfortunately, this vehicle, as you can tell, this did not go well in terms of the Spade. I did hint this at the start, and yeah, I wasn't too impressed by the... As I said, the AP round was acting a little bit inconsistent, which I don't like to use that word for something that could be quite good in usability. But unfortunately, I have to use it here because when you bounce off a BT5 6 times with AP at 200 meters, it is rather frustrating to say the least. So the 2 main battles of importance, well, I could say actually 3, is Battle 6, which is the battle you're going to be seeing today. It's the only match I didn't die in this thing, with 6 kills, 2 caps, no death, 3,541 SL, 2,182 RP. The other matches are Battle 7 with 0 air kills, 3 ground kills, 0 assists, and no caps. Did die, 1243 SL, 639 RP. And finally, the match to Spade this vehicle was 0 air kills, 4 ground kills, 0 assists, no caps. Did die, 1284 SL, 649 RP. Overall, it was an okay Spade. I mean, I've had better, let's put it that way. And the problem is I can't really blame the vehicle itself. Like, yeah, the shell, the AP round, was being quite inconsistent. And again, I don't like to use that word, because I know this thing could do some work. But it was mainly the fact that I noticed most of my deaths were from, shall we say, toxic level 100 players seal clubbing in low tier with vehicles full of premium lineup. Well, lineups full of premium vehicles, I should say. And the moment you kill one of their precious little pixel tanks, they seem to come rushing at, like, pitchforks and torches straight to you just to strafe you, bomb you, or both. And it can make a Spade of a vehicle rather frustrating. Additional point you'll see there, 30% RP booster. These are marked down here. So the asterisk represents all of the matches that took place with that 30% RP booster. You did see it in the hangar. So, yeah, I haven't even finished using the booster yet. That gives you an idea of how recent this Spade was and why it's so fresh on my mind. But overall, I would personally skip this vehicle, even though it can do some work. If you do want a bit more survivability than the Panzerjäger, though, this could be a thing, and it can obviously do some work with its heat round. But generally speaking, I think the Panzerjäger is going to be a bit more forgiving for a newer player. But if you're a more experienced player, you'd probably get some use out of this thing. But anyway, I'm going to head over to the gameplay now. It is me and Lonius in this match, and I will see you all on the next one.
Yep, very cool. Yeah, I bounced off the BT as well. Russian bias. To be fair, it was a really shit angle. He was already moving, and I think I hit it like at like a very flat angle. So doesn't mean anything.
Well, I just killed a M8 LAC, Chinese one though. Not the American one. Surprised we've not seen any of them yet.
It's one of the more desirable vehicles, so don't be surprised.
Well, still don't mean people won't want
They
it.
put a fucking weight on that. I swear.
What's up?
They put a fucking weight on that shit.
Wait.
Like they weighted them. I don't know, like it's a saying in Hungarian, but I mean that's you know
I was gonna say
better chance of getting the getting some vehicles than others.
Yeah, you can tell, but if you look on the battle trophy vehicle box anyway for the 10 rare vehicles, that's funny. You'll actually notice that some of the vehicles have like they have like a different color scheme. Oh, there we go. That ran frickin' penned. God almighty, guys! You just tell them you love them. Well, at least this is going well so far. I would have gone for the cap, but it was too risky. Got him. Now we're cooking with gas.
Revenge.
There you go. And by the way, I've done all that with AP. Just so I'll let you know. Just seems like some players in the previous matches were getting freaking protection that they shouldn't get. Come on. Right, they're on B now. I just heard something to the right.
All I say is you can say what you want about the shitty half-track, but not the gun.
The problem isn't the half. The problem isn't the half-track. Like, yeah, the suspension needs to be fixed, but the gun, at least so far, has been very mixed. Like, I'm not saying it's inconsistent, because that's what the BT-42 is. I just think sometimes it depends on the player that you meet, because seriously, it's ridiculous. Hello. 1 minute. Gonna defeat. And overpressure. Nice. There's a reason why I shot the same place twice on him, because it doesn't matter where you're shooting with heat. You overpressure him regardless. Well, an LVT that is. Yeah, I don't have a problem with the half-track itself, because I like the 251 chassis. As I said, like, the suspension needs reworking, because it bounces quite a lot. Unnecessary. Like, even when you're stationary, it bounces. And, like, the gun's workable, like on the 234-3, but for some reason it's just being weird on this vehicle, and it's not being weird on that.
Oh, someone's coming.
There's someone on this cap. Teammate, we need to patrol this area because somebody is on this cap.
Oh, it's a T-28. Oh boy.
I can hear it. It's to my right. You go on ahead, buddy. I'm being strafed by a plane. It's a J-11. He's definitely mad at me, that's for sure. Stop strafing me, you bellend!
No armor, best armor. Shoot! Shoot the barrel! Shoot the barrel! Yes! Yes! What now, bruh?
I'm just getting revenge killed by the same guy here. Where is this fucking bellend?
Oh, of course he gets me in the bugging machine gun. That thing couldn't be more OP. I swear, Russian vehicles have the best guns, the best armor, everything. The best
Now
mobility.
you see why I wasn't killing that BT5 in the cargo port match. Right, just to let you know,
This is not with tanks, so that's probably why. But
there's a J8A or a J11 or something, and it's strafing the crap out of my vehicle.
well, I'm kind of far, but I'll see what I can do with it. I see it. There are two planes up, by the way.
Yeah,
so it might be a
the
JC.
B-17. The B-17 isn't the problem. It's the friggin' J11 that is.
Okay. One is diving. No, he's not diving on you.
No, he's not. He's dead now. That's good. Right, I'm going to move off the cap because I need to make my way back to A.
I have 1,000 kilogram bomb that I can give to anyone. Someone is diving on you. No, pulled off. Maybe it was not you.
No, it probably doesn't see me, so I'm going to just behind the flats. I'm just going behind the block of flats right now. Well, this would be called an apartment complex by many, but because I'm British, I call it a block of flats.
British.
Yes.
Oh, it's a Fokker.
Yeah, we'd call these buildings for the most part a block of flats. Quite a few. I think a few other countries call them block of flats, but I can't remember. I know the Americans call them apartments. That's about it. That's as much building knowledge as you're getting out of me, unfortunately. Okay, you're just gonna ignore me. There's a Stuart headed towards the B cap.
And he didn't die from it. Very nice.
Oh great, I'm gonna have to head to the A point in a minute because this little shit couldn't stop the vehicle in time. Excuse me. Where do you think you're going? Stay out of my cab. Little shit. Go through a small turn here. There is something on the A point. I have no idea what. Yeah, that little shit was trying to go to my B point. It's my B point, fool. See, we're actually getting consistent, and I've only had to fire the heat round once, and to be fair, I didn't really need to.
How many rounds do you have in that thing?
Plenty.
Or I mean, how many different rounds?
Only the AP and the heat. I don't really need the HE because, again, I said it earlier, the HE is outclassed by the heat, so...
I don't know, I just run heat exclusively.
No, I bring some AP because sometimes it's just best to have a good mix of ammo. Like, you've got to have a good bit of AP and HE because obviously some situations you might run into a vehicle and it's stuck behind a little bit of cover, so it's just versatility. I don't like to take just one shell in many tanks, really. Unless it's an American tank that has a 50 on it, in which case I'll just take the AP rounds. Well, AP CPC, but you get my point.
I don't know, I just usually take 25 or no, maybe 20 rounds of APHE and then 5
What's
rounds
this guy
of
going on
AP
about?
and
That is an
anti-armor,
not anti-tank gun, just so you know, you bad new player. Well, aren't you a lovely gentleman, Mr. Norland 2? Besides, you have 3 deaths, 4 kills, shut up.
Attention to the map.
Right, well I've just gotten on the A point anyhow. I'm just capping it now.
Why did he say that he's a new player?
I don't know who he's talking to. But he can't really talk shit because he's not really done much. Like, if you're gonna talk shit, like if you're gonna talk the talk, you gotta know to walk the walk, you know? Like you've gotta have it to back it up, like you can't talk shit without backing it up with decent stats, you know? Like that's what a lot of players should learn in this game, to be honest. Well, I think this is about over. I'm going to try and get into the tree line up here. Get some cover. T-26 just took our flak panzer. And it's the guy who was moaning in the chat. I'm just going to back up into this bush line here. Make it a little bit harder for him to spot me if he does come round. Because if he comes over the left hill, he's going to get sniped by the flak panzer. And if he comes over this hill, I'll have him.
You now.
Let's keep the pressure on.
Just gotta wait for him now, because a T-26 isn't exactly a speed demon.
Look out.
No, I don't think he's coming. That's a shame. But there we go, not a bad little result. See, when people aren't protected by whatever magic tricks they decide to pull, the AP sure does do some work.
Magic.
Oh, you son of a bitch. My gunner was dead, so I'd have probably died to that guy there. Well, not a bad little result. That's for sure. Let's see how she pays.
Magic.
Magic indeed. Because when a BT-5 bounces 5 fucking rounds from the same tank, it's kind of concerning. Yeah, 6 kills, 2 caps, not a bad result, and it pays pretty okay to say it was only a 1-spawn vehicle. But yeah, just stick with it, Panzerjäger.